The world was hushed under a blanket of fresh snow as the full moon climbed high above the ridge, its pale luminescence filtering through the towering pines. Each branch was outlined in frost, and the forest floor gleamed like a sea of diamonds. Amidst this otherworldly stillness, a lone wolf pup, no more than 4 months old, stepped hesitantly into a small clearing. His fur, soft and gray speckled with white, blended almost seamlessly with the moonlit drifts. Tiny paws sank into the powder, and he paused, ears folding back in uncertainty. He lifted his head, nostrils flaring to catch the crisp night air, searching for any sign of his pack, but only the whisper of wind through the needles answered him. Heart pounding, the pup drew a ragged breath and let out a tentative wail, a high, quavering note that echoed off the silent trunks. The sound was raw with fear and loneliness, a cry born of aching abandonment. For nights, he had wandered these woods after the blizzard's fury tore him from his family. Each starless evening had found him trembling beneath ice-laden boughs, hungry and cold. Now, under the steady glow of the moon, he summoned every scrap of courage. His small chest rose and fell as he howled again, this time with more conviction. The sound carried on the biting breeze, slipping down frozen gullies and across wind-sculpted ridges. With each echoing note, the pup felt a spark of hope kindle within him, a belief that somewhere out there, answers awaited. And so, in the pale silence of the winter night, the lone pup's call rang out, a single beacon of sound upon the silent snows, setting into motion a chain of echoes that would reunite him with the family he desperately longed to find. The pup's second howl rolled down the slope, rippling through the frost-hardened underbrush like a wayward stone skipping across ice. In the silent aftermath, the only reply was the whisper of wind through the pines, until, far to the north, a low, distant rumble answered. On a rocky promontory overlooking the valley, Luna, an elder she-wolf with a crescent-scarred flank, stirred from uneasy slumber. Her amber eyes flicked open at the haunting echo, and she recognized the timbre, not the deep, authoritative baritone of her mates, but the higher, wavering note of a young voice. Heart quickening, she rose and padded to the cliff's edge, ears straining. Below, snow gathered in drifts against ancient stone. Luna caught the faint scent of pup, a crisp, clean musk tinged with fear. She lifted her muzzle and inhaled deeply, mapping the wind-borne trail toward the distant cry. Immediately, she broke into a purposeful trot, following the scent line as it wound through snow-sprinkled cairns and icy hollows. Meanwhile, on the opposite ridge, Tal, one of the pack's sentries, heard the moonlit call on his midnight watch. He stood sentinel beside a frozen creek, tail stiff, when the echo reached him. His instinct honed by years of patrolling these woods, he recognized the undercurrent of distress. With a single resonant howl, deep and clear, Tal replied, sending a beacon across the valley that told any listening wolves, "I come." Farther east, 3 younger wolves, siblings Nova, Rune, and Sari, were drawn from their den by the chorus. They emerged blinking into the night, fur dusted with frost, and joined Tal's call with rising confidence. Their blended voices rolled together until the valley seemed to pulse with wolf song. Back in the clearing, the pup pressed his small body against the snowbank, ears perked at the growing symphony. Each new reply bolstered his courage, transforming fear into anticipation. He lifted his head once more and howled with newfound strength, a confident trill that wove itself into the nocturnal hymn. Through the silvered pines and frozen streams, the pack's echoes converged like converging rivers. In the gathering resonance, the pup sensed his family drawing near, guided by moonlight and memory, and he took his first brave steps toward their reunion. As the valley's stillness dissolved into a symphony of distant calls, the pup stood transfixed. His tiny heart pounded as he recognized the deep, resonant baritone of the matriarch's reply weaving through the night air. Each echoing howl guided him like a lantern's beam, beckoning him toward kin he thought lost forever. On the western slope, Luna paused at a snow-choked ridge. Behind her, Tal's clarion call harmonized with the younger wolves' keening trills. The siblings, Nova, Rune, and Sari, added youthful urgency, their voices ranging from playful chirrups to bold, brassy notes. Together, they created a living tapestry of sound that rippled across frozen hollows and beneath ice-laden boughs. The matriarch lifted her head and joined the chorus herself. Her howl began low and steady, gathering strength in its ascent until it soared in a majestic bridge of sound. From rocky ledges to sheltered groves, other pack members stirred. A veteran hunter replied with a gravelly baritone from a distant outcrop. A nursing mother added a soft, comforting wail from her hidden den. In the pup's clearing, the night air vibrated with these united calls. He pressed his nose to the snow, inhaling the complex tapestry of scents carried on each howl: pine resin, wet stone, musk of familiar fur. Instinct and memory guided him. This was home. Summoning every ounce of courage, the pup echoed back, not with a timid whimper, but with a clear, confident trill that matched the pack's cadence. His voice blended with theirs, completing the circle of sound. In that moment, the first spark of reunion ignited. Through moonlit pines and over frozen streams, the pack's spectral howls converged on the pup's lonely clearing, ready to lead him back into their fold. Bolstered by the pack's resonant replies, the pup's uncertainty melted into resolve. He lifted his muzzle and inhaled the bracing night air. Scent mingled with pine and frost. Ahead, the moon shone full and bright, casting long, stark shadows that revealed every contour of the snow-covered ground. Tentatively, he tested his weight on one paw and then another, feeling the powder compress beneath his claws. Imprinted in the fresh snow were ghostly tracks, long, sleek strides of adult wolves, each paw print a beacon guiding him forward. His own tiny prints followed in a zigzag, forging a narrow path toward hope. On the western ridge, Luna paused to examine her own footprints, their size unmistakable by her keen eye. With a deliberate turn, she traced the scent line downhill, paws scuffing aside light drifts to leave clear markers for younger wolves to follow. Tal, Nova, Rune, and Sari fell into step behind her, forming a living chain of guidance. Beneath towering spruce, the pup pushed onward, heart thumping in time with his quickening gait. He passed beneath limbs bowed by ice, each frozen needle glittering like a crystal chandelier. The moonlight revealed uneven terrain, hidden depressions that threatened to swallow him. Yet each time he paused, distant howls reminded him that family waited beyond each rise. Far above, the pack's sentries maintained their vigil, sounding intermittent calls that merged with the pup's breathy pants. Whenever the pup's path veered into a wind-scoured hollow or a shadowed dip, his little chest rose with doubt. But then a wolf's bark echoed across the slope, and he trotted anew, paws skidding in loose snow, yet never faltering. Finally, as the moon crossed its zenith, the pup reached a crest overlooking a frozen brook, where ice glazed the stones in shimmering facets. There, set like sentinels on the bank, stood Tal and Luna side by side. Their amber eyes glowed with welcome. The pup's own shadow stretched long in the moonlight as he bounded the final few yards, merging his small prints into the larger, steady tracks of his family. In that silvered clearing, under the watchful gaze of the moon and the proud eyes of his kin, the lone wanderer found his path home, guided by footprints etched in snow and the unwavering call of his family's love. The moon dipped lower in the sky as the pup crested the final slope and spotted the frozen brook's glassy surface glinting like a silver ribbon. There, on the far bank, Luna stood sentinel, her graceful form outlined in moonlight, breath steaming in the frigid air. Beside her, Tal lifted his head, amber eyes gleaming as he scanned the clearing. Cautious at first, the pup approached the edge of the brook, black nose quivering as he took in every familiar scent. The earthy musk of his mother, the sharp tang of pine resin, the comforting presence of siblings newly summoned. He paused at the brook's lip, toes slipping on the ice, and let out a tentative whine of recognition. Luna answered with a low, rumbling call, a mother's relief made audible. She slipped across the frozen surface with sure-footed grace, each paw print pressing shallow dimples into the ice. Tal followed, bounding with youthful exuberance, sides heaving with excitement. From behind them, Nova, Rune, and Sari emerged one by one, their paws crunching the crusted snow as they fanned out to flank the pup from either side. Encouraged by their presence, the pup trotted forward, tail wagging in a slow, joyful arc. When he closed the final distance, Luna knelt and nudged him gently with her muzzle, wiping away a trickle of snow that had dusted his brow. The pup pressed his head against her flank, legs trembling with exhaustion and joy. Tal nuzzled his side. The siblings circled in playful bows, their noses brushing his ears in welcome. Above, the forest seemed to exhale. A chorus of distant howls rose in tribute, weaving through the pines and carrying the news of reunion across the ridge. In the pale winter night, under the watchful eyes of the moon and the protective circle of his pack, the pup stood once again among his family, safe, cherished, and bound by the timeless music of their shared howls. As pre-dawn light brushed the eastern sky with streaks of rose and gold, the reunited pack descended into a sheltered pine-ringed glade beside a smoldering ember pit, remnants of an ancient campfire where last summer's campers had left warmth in the hearth. Luna led the way, nose to the wind, until the scent of fresh kill, still steaming, reached her nostrils. There, half hidden beneath snow-cloaked boughs, lay the carcass of an elk, taken by the pack's hunters at twilight. Tal and the young wolves bounded forward eagerly, tearing at the tender flank with razor-sharp teeth. Nova and Sari circled the hindquarters, ripping strips of meat for the pup, while Rune stood guard, ears perked for any rival predator drawn by the scent. The pup nuzzled Luna's side, and she gently guided him to a soft patch of warmed earth near the embers. There, he gnawed at a morsel of meat, his small jaws learning the rhythm of the hunt he would one day master. Around the fire's ghostly glow, the pack settled into a contented murmur. Flames licked the charred logs, sending sparks dancing into the chill air. Wolves lay curled in tight knots, their bodies pressed close for shared warmth. As the pup finished his meal, Luna pressed her flank against his back, imparting heat and comfort. In that circle of firelight, under the watching pines, the pack's bonds were reforged. Strength, sustenance, and the care of family kindled in the frozen heart of winter. With dawn's rosy glow warming the frost-tipped needles, the pack gathered once more beside the ember-cooled fire pit. The pup lay nestled between Luna's broad flanks and Tal's sturdy side, ears perked to catch the soft chorus of returning wolves. After their feast, the pack's elders rose, stretching graceful bodies and lifting their muzzles to the pale morning sky. Luna gave a low, reverent rumble, a mother's salute to survival, and then, guiding her eyes to the pup, let out a gentle, clear howl. The tone was measured and melodic, carrying both authority and warmth. Instinctively, the pup raised his head and responded with a hesitant echo. Luna's ears twitched in approval, and she howled again, this time interweaving a subtle trill that instructed the pup in the art of the moonlit call. One by one, each wolf added lessons. Tal's deep baritone taught the pup how to project strength. Nova's playful chirrups showed him that a howl could soothe as well as summon. Rune's staccato bursts illustrated urgency, and Sari's rising notes demonstrated the power of hope. The pup listened, head tilted, absorbing every vibration and nuance. Then, summoning his newfound confidence, he howled in a bold, blended voice, a melody born of his family's unity. Silence followed, and in that stillness, the forest itself seemed to acknowledge the achievement. A lone owl hooted in approval, and a distant hare froze mid-hop to listen. The pack's matriarchs exchanged proud glances, recognizing that the pup had not only been saved by the moonlit call, but would one day carry its power forward. As the sun climbed higher, warming the snow to shimmer with melting drops, the pack rose as one. They trotted back toward their den under the sheltering pines, the pup at the heart of their column, his small howls echoing lightly with each step. In that rhythm of footsteps and song, the pack renewed their covenant, that every howl, from the faintest pup's plea to the matriarch's command, binds family and guides them home, no matter how dark the night.